It's a film with three brains. 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 It's a film with three brains.
Oh my god, you guys are freaks.
Holy Schnikes.
Is that for me?
No, son, that's for me.
You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
I know. They're called doctors.
There's always has been, always will be, a family firm. Oh, son of a... Someday my son will run it.
Luke, I am your father.
Aw, I've interrupted happy time.
That's my name. Yeah, that's your new office now. Whoa.
Do we really want to put the future of the company in Tommy's hands?
Promise me you'll look after Tommy boy here till he gets his feet wet.
Sure, and thanks for choosing me. Hey, Tommy, this is not a vacation for me. I'm out here against my will, so the least you can do is pretend to work. Ugh, I can actually hear you getting fatter. All right, it's sale time, so remember, we don't take
No for an answer.
No.
Okie dokie.
I'm gonna pass.
Gotcha, thanks. Oh, son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
Okay, let's check you out. All right.
It's a clip-on.
Hi, are you sure?
Can't breathe.
He's a big dumb animal, isn't he, folks?
No, son of a... What'd you do? I'm a maniac on the floor.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Why?
What?
That was a good.
Holy shnikes, we got a drum roll to start it? Yes, welcome to the Film with Three Brains. It's Sam in San Francisco.
Hey, and this is Sean in Chicago.
And this is Cohen in Maplewood, New Jersey.
God, that was the best beginning ever. I have high hopes for this episode. We might be able to top our previous best.
It's a nice
Maybe.
buzz roll there.
We'll see. Today we are reviewing Tommy Boy, the 1995 comedy starring Chris Farley and David Spade. I have not seen it since it came out. How about you guys?
I haven't seen it this week. No, I did watch it again, but I've seen it a lot of times.
I've seen it a lot of times, but I feel like it was all front loaded.
All in the 90s.
Like when it came, when it
2000s.
came out, and then when it came out in video, I probably rented it.
Yeah, I
probably
had a
owned
tape
it.
of it.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it, probably 20 years at least. But there was a time where I watched it many times.
That's awesome.
Sam, this is two viewings?
Yeah, this is number 2.
Wow.
It seems to be a pattern for you. You notice that?
You know, I'm always looking for new stuff to watch, so I rarely go back and watch old things again, with the exception of, like, if I own it, then I'll pull it out now and then, but even that's pretty rare. Like, I have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which I've watched once since I owned it, and I'm waiting to watch it again when we pick it for this review, because there's always something else to watch.
True.
Do you still have your list going? Do you know what you're at?
Yeah, I do. Yes, because I hit a 5 on your last pick because I hadn't seen Mickey and Nike. Mickey and Nike.
See, it's hard, isn't it?
It is. She shouldn't have done that. You know, one of them couldn't have been something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm at like 2,980. So something like that.
So let's pause for 1 second. Sam, your levels are peaking pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're too close to the mic or if your output level's still a little too high. Sean, does it sound like that to you?
I mean, when he got really excited, it
Yeah, I won't get excited again. There's no chance of that.
No, we like that. We like that.
All right.
So
just carry on like nothing happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you were saying your list is
so I'm waiting to get to that monumental 3000. I'm sure I missed some movies along the way. And the other thing is I don't count like all these made for Netflix or Amazon movies unless they actually get released in the theater. So that's really reduced how much I watch, because now it seems like almost nothing's getting released in the theaters. I do need to go see the last Mission Impossible installment since I saw the others in the theater.
Yep.
Anyway, back to Tommy Boy. Does this need a synopsis? Sure. All right. Chris Farley, SNL comedian. If you don't know who he is, just put this thing on pause and look up the Mike Foley, Foley episode of Chris Farley. You can stream it. It's all over the place.
I always thought it was Matt.
Oh, Matt. Sorry.
Matt,
sorry. You're right.
35 years
Holy
old.
cow.
He is divorced.
Yeah, my name is Matt Foley. All right. I don't
Ooh,
know how I botched that. Anyway, stay off the drugs. Keep working here. Chris Farley is a new college graduate after 7 years of fooling around, and his dad, Brian Dennehy, owns an auto parts factory in Ohio, and Chris is going to come back and work for him, but then his dad dies at his second wedding ceremony, and turns out the woman he married is Bo Derek, who has a plan of selling the company and taking all the money and running off with her fake son to just steal everything. And Tommy Boy has to team up with David Spade, who's their nerdy do-right employee who doesn't believe in Tommy at all, to actually go out and sell crap and get some orders and try to. It's kind of a very Disney plot, like we're gonna go sell million of these things and save the day. Stop the company from being sold.
Indeed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The plot, though, is really not the point of the movie.
Not really.
The plot is to watch Chris Farley do stuff, some of which he already did on Saturday Night Live, and some of it is new. Actually, a lot of the jokes he already did on Saturday Night Live are stand-up. They're like a little bit twisted, eating French fries, bumping into stuff, falling on the table, crashes. There's a lot of them. The
only thing that's missing is Hachi Do Hachi.
Yes, which I love that episode also on Saturday Night Live.
I was sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say the reason I picked this though was because they came out with a Chris Farley documentary in this last year, and I had watched it on the airplane, and I thought, okay, I want to go back and see Tommy Boy again. The documentary was okay. It shows little clips of stuff here and there, and I picked Tommy Boy specifically because of one of the clips they show in the documentary. I'll come back to that. Keep you on your toes.
Intriguing. No, I was shocked that it wasn't. It was a buddy movie, but it was going to be Tommy and Paul, Rob Lowe's character.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know they pretty much tore up the script and almost started it over, but just the idea of it sounds strange. Like, okay, you're going to have a buddy movie with the brother-in-law. That must have been. They must have changed it from whatever they were going to do to con artist. They couldn't have had them coming together if the way it is now. But anyway, I'm really glad that they did what they did, because as you just said, like Spade and Farley, their chemistry is great, and they, whether it's the time they spent in the writer's room or the time they spent filming together, I guess they got into some fights a little bit, actual, like in the movie. But yeah, that's the good stuff. Every scene with them is like got at least one funny joke in it, I think. I mean, not every single one is like. Personally, I feel like it runs out of gas a little bit toward the end, but it's such a fun ride. I don't really care that much. Yeah.
You know what? You mentioned Rob Lowe, who somehow gets an uncredited role. And I'm like, what in the world is Rob Lowe doing in 2 Lorne Michaels movies?
It was apparently a favor to Lorne Michaels because he was in Wayne's World, so he couldn't really get it done because of scheduling, and they were going to get somebody else. I think Matthew McConaughey was considered, and then this scheduling worked out and he did it. But he said that he wanted to keep himself uncredited as a nice surprise, rather than, because like I said before, he was going to be a main character, and then it shifted to him being kind of a side bit, and so he just said, I don't care, So I don't know if that's his ego saying, "Oh," that people are gonna be like, "Hey, it's Rob Lowe." I mean, I guess, yeah, sort of.
Maybe
I forgot he was in it, and so when I saw him, I was like, "What? Another one?" I was like, "I don't even remember this part of Rob Lowe's career."
I wonder if he does. That's cheap shot, because I don't think he partied in the 90s as much as the 80s. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, can you pick a more quotable movie than this? I don't know. It's got to be up there.
Yeah. I was
go
go ahead.
No, you.
All right. I was just going to say that I haven't seen it in a while, and my memory of it is always that it's very funny. It's hilarious. I love it. It wasn't quite as it's funny. Clearly, it's funny. But like I thought I was gonna laugh more watching it after 20 some odd years, and instead I just kind of grinning,
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually some of the things I find most funny is most of it's David Spade, and most of it's in the first half.
Yeah.
Like when he greets him at the bus, and that whole scene, David Spade just kills me. That's the best scene in the whole movie for me.
Yeah, they're called.
And he just has a couple like key lines that are just so funny. Like, "Oh, this has got to be you," and it's that fucked up garbage bag, and just a shade under a decade. All right.
You hang into a car with this cherry, kind of like your suitcase.
Right, exactly. And then I found myself enjoying less and less sort of Chris Farley's Chris Farleyness.
Mm.
I like him. I think he's funny, but I didn't like it so much when he was just being loud.
Okay.
Like I used to think Chris Farley loud was automatically funny when I was younger. Now I don't, I guess.
Right.
There's plenty going on where he's quite funny and he's great, but there's also plenty not going on when he's just loud. And those moments, I didn't realize how many there were. I was just kind of like, oh, okay,
Yeah. Yeah,
but I do love it when he crashes through the coffee table.
You like that? I mean, that's the one I don't laugh at.
It's like it's like the dumbest thing in the world, but the way he's talking when he's we're gonna go out there.
We're gonna show.
Yeah, and then it's like such a dumb like sight gag, and it kills me because I have no emotional maturity.
It's impressive though. Like the stuntman was like, "Let me do it," and Farley's like, "Nah, I got this." And apparently he got up right after that take. He was like, "Yep, all right." He was fine.
Right on.
I mean, that's
Tom
very
Cruise.
much Matt Foley. Yeah. Yeah, right.
And also, one other thing, just a minor musing, and never occurred to me before, is Brian Dennehy is far too creepy for this role.
You can't.
There's just something about his face looks predatory. I don't know, or like creepy, or monstrous in some way.
He's barely in there.
I know, but he just he looks like a villain. And maybe it's just maybe it's just because First Blood, and even more so if you've ever seen that boxing movie called Gladiator
Gladiator
with Cuba Gooding Jr. and the blonde guy
I
from
think he's a bad guy in
from
FX.
Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah.
He plays Brian Dennehy. He plays the bad guy in it.
Yeah,
But
guy.
his face just, even when he smiles, he just looks like a villain contemplating your doom. So that's what I kept thinking in every scene, even the scenes that are supposed to be heartfelt. And I'm just like, he's evil. But, I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You have to buy into the bond with Tommy and apparently he was supposed to be Billy the Third, which is interesting because Billy Madison was coming out right. They were in the same hotel. Did you read that? Sandler and Spade and Farley were all in Toronto at the same hotel. There's some crossover there, but like Billy the Third was like, it didn't work. So then they switched it to Tommy, and then Brian Dennehy kept saying Tommy Boy. Yeah, we'll get Tommy Boy, and then they're like, I guess we'll stick with that, as a title and as a concept,
It's not bad. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those movies I think it did well for, and I guessing this happens mostly in comedies where they're shooting the breeze and they come up with, oh wait, let's change it to this, or let's add this in here, like David Spade's hair, him refusing, and then they add in the gag that it's fake, and the other thing, like even Brian Dennehy coming up with the moment where they're having a little heart to heart and that they kind of stumble through it and all that.
Yeah, that he said like the Midwest people sometimes don't let their feelings out, so he instead of the long speech they had planned, he kind of cut it down.
Yeah,
is that what you're?
I think that makes far more sense.
Yeah,
yeah. No one
it helps
Midwest
the pace.
has ever given a long speech.
Yeah. We bottle that shit up, man.
Yeah.
It's the way you're supposed to.
Yeah, it keeps you warm in winter.
Right.
Indeed. So earlier, listeners, before we started, I was reading trivia about Tommy Boy, and I stumbled upon a tiny little factoid that I refuse to believe, but I looked it up and it's true. It said that Bo Derek was 38 when they made this movie.
What?
38. It just seems so
like she
young.
Should be way older than
she looks so much older.
She does look older, but also
that's 12 years younger than us right now. And in my mind, she looked older there than we do now. And of course,
I'll agree.
That could be, yes.
Of course.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I look like I'm 25. I don't know about you guys. But still, she's like 38. I always think of Bo Derek as old.
Like she was big in the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
She must have been so fucking young.
Yeah, right.
But 38. I mean, how old is Rob Lowe supposed to? Well, I mean,
I think
doesn't matter. They're not actually playing mother and son, although they're supposed to be playing mother and son. I mean, he must have been like 30.
Yeah. Well, I just couldn't believe the factoid about her hair. That apparently she has a really jealous husband.
What?
Or had. He's passed now. And he like told her to cut her hair. So she cut off her. She went with the bob cut or whatever.
Oh my God.
And I think the studio was like, "Whoa, well, we thought we were
because
getting
why?
Bo Derek." Okay, this is a factoid. I don't know if it's believable or not.
So I would imagine. So she didn't. So she looked less pretty. So guys on set wouldn't hit on her or something.
If you want to go down that rabbit hole into this guy's goofy head, I think he was thinking his model actress wife would be less desirable to people, I guess, if she cut her hair off. I don't know.
That's pretty insane.
Sounds like it, yeah.
I mean, that level of insecurity is unhealthy.
Yeah. And then to add insult to injury, she was nominated for a Razzie for her performance.
I mean, she's
a little flat.
Yeah, she's the least interesting thing about this movie, really. Other than than who she is, like it's basically stunt casting. It's more or less a cameo, or why we have cameos,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, she was fine. I feel like she didn't add. I don't think she made it worse. She just didn't really add anything.
No, I mean, she
And
wasn't
again,
there to
I
be
mean,
part of the plot.
Right. I mean, she doesn't get a whole lot. She also doesn't have a whole lot to do. It's all Rob Lowe. And he's great.
right.
I like Rob Lowe. But yeah, he's got a couple of good lines. I mean, his intro is pretty good. His character intro is pretty good.
Yeah, I like
when he gets off the bus and the kids going.
Yeah. It looks like he really gets that kid too. I don't know.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Maybe they had to pay him off. No, I don't know. He is good. I mean, not surprisingly.
Yeah.
But the writers, there's a husband and wife team, Bonnie and something.
Clyde?
Bonnie and Clyde.
Oof. Sorry, that was dumb.
Bonnie and Terry Turner. And they are writers. They were in sketch comedy with Jan Hooks, apparently. And have ended up doing some writing for Lorne and Saturday Night Live too, but they also worked on Wayne's World and stuff. I'm curious about. I mean, I think they were onto something. I remember, but since it was rewritten, I think what works the best about this movie is timing. And I'll give you at least one example of what I mean. Like the scene when they're singing the Carpenters song.
I was thinking that. I was like, I didn't think you were going to go there. I was like, he's not going to say the Carpenter song, is he?
I'll go anywhere.
No, no, because that's as soon as you said it, that's the first thing that popped in my mind. But go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're doing, and this is a real David Spade anecdote because he had this Carpenter CD in his car, and he was going out with a girl on a date, and it started the car and it came on, and he was like, oh, well, I don't know what's wrong with my preset radio or something. Like he was embarrassed about Carpenters, and so that became the shtick, or that's the gag. But they're listening and they're crying to the they're if you don't know the Carpenters, it's a ballad, and they get to the "I love you," and then the hood comes up, and then all hell breaks loose. And the timing of those cuts, that like the editing on this movie, I think is really pretty exceptional, because I mean, Colin, you can tell us. I assume that the timing of those cuts really helps the comedy.
Sure, absolutely. I agree 100%.
And I feel like the juxtaposition of like the sweet and silly moments is really well done, kind of almost throughout the movie. There's a couple of duds, but like that switch between like, oh, this is I mean, it's just the whole movie is kind of like that.
It balances the tonal shifts pretty well, but the tonal shifts aren't really that. It's not a big swing because it's already a very sort of heartwarming, goofy kind of, the comedy. This isn't like cynical comedy, so it's easy to sort of shift into those more emotional moments, I think, because the non-emotional moments are still a little emotional because they're goofy and they're heartwarming. And he's like a child, sort of like Elf, I suppose, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that the tonal shifts is the reason why I chose this movie, because in the documentary they talk about that when he switches to being sincere or sweet, you realize that Chris Farley potentially could do something besides Chris Farley movies.
Agreed.
And he didn't, his brothers say that, he was encouraged to, but he didn't have the confidence and it was too easy to go back because he was being thrown so many stupid scripts. It was too easy to just pick up one and do it. That was something that they talked about is that, like a lot of other comedians, he could have, Tom Hanks being the poster boy for that one, switch over and do other things. And it would have been interesting to see, to have that moment. And they specifically called out the moment on the boat when he's talking about remembering his dad and, that part. And then the shift, yelling at the kids, on that.
Yeah.
Well, first as a joke, he's like, he used to sit on the shore and say, "Quit playing with your dinghy."
Yeah.
But then that's part of the romantic whatever you call that, courtship that they're having. And then I like that she supports him, goes ape shit on those kids. And then he's impressed because that they get along now. They see eye to eye on some things like that. Because if it's just like, oh, we work at the same place, it's like, okay, well, there's got to be something that connects them.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that Farley, being actually a very shy guy with women, apparently, at least when he's sober, I imagine, had a tough time with her on set. Like, did you read that little bit?
That was interesting that she felt it was getting more and more awkward, and she forced him to come to her trailer and hang out with him and chat, and it took about 4 hours to break him down where they could sit around and just
just 4 short hours. Yeah. But that was some of those insights into him are interesting because you watch the documentary and we all kind of remember him very fondly. But like when I think about when I'm watching this movie and he's talking about his dad, it kind of makes me think about him in that way, like remembering him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I want to remember him. Certainly not Black Sheep. That movie is terrible.
Yeah.
I had the misfortune of seeing that.
I mean, this is the only movie he stars in that's good.
Right?
Beverly Hills Ninja?
Ugh.
I mean, I've seen that too. It's not as bad as Black Sheep.
What's the fucking one with Matthew Perry? Like
a Wild West movie?
No. Well, sort of. Is it Wagons East, or is that the John Candy one?
That's John Candy.
What the hell is it called? You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I think so.
They're like, I don't know if they're fur trappers or some shit.
Oh, are they French? Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
I know what you're talking about.
It's just terrible. But, yeah, I mean, he's in a lot of movies, which is, I mean, is small parts, but I mean, he died 2 years after Tommy Boy came out?
No, because he's in Dirty Work in 98,
97 or 99.
I think 99 or 88 or 99. I don't. Well, where's this bio?
Yeah.
Oh no, 97. Okay, so he. Yeah, no, it was end of December 97.
That's crazy.
So.
Yeah.
What the heck is that movie though?
The
Almost Heroes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Actually, is that it?
Oh, geez, that was a Christopher Guest movie.
No.
The Rare Dud.
Oof.
Yeah, I kind of know that movie too. Do I know that movie? I don't know.
I've seen it, but I don't remember it. It was just terrible.
It doesn't look very good just from the poster. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, and Matthew Perry and Chris Farley struggled with substance abuse, so probably shouldn't have had them together.
Indeed.
Yeah, the documentary also focused a lot on Chris Farley's love of John Belushi and the parallels of their substance abuse and then death both at the age of 33. But yeah, a lot of overlaps in how they lived their life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Farley's a hometown guy for us. He grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, and I don't know why he ended up in Chicago. Like you're flying to New York. You're like he was in an apartment in the John Hancock building or something, and it just seems so isolated and weird. Like I mean, New York, I don't know what New York is like, but I know Chicago downtown is kind of a desolate and lonely place once you get to about 9-10 o'clock. You know, it's a weird place to
is not
live
like that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't feel like that to me.
I mean, parts of it are sure like the boroughs, but in Manhattan, no.
Right?
Yeah, but that's where he got his start. You know, Second City. You know, he went to Marquette. You know, there's parts of this movie that are truly autobiographical.
Sure, and his dad being an actual salesman and being very close to his
love
dad.
for his dad. Yeah, you know, yeah, and then Madison and Milwaukee. I mean, they're all in there.
Do you have an anecdote about Farley and Madison?
Yeah, he stepped on my foot. I was standing talking to I was friends with a bouncer. This is I think 1993, and I was friends with a bouncer at a bar, and he was standing outside as I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't going to the bar, so I was just standing there talking to him, and a car pulls up, and Chris Farley and his entourage get out, and he walks right between us, and he steps on my foot, and he seriously, just like he's on set, he's like, "Oh, sorry," like a sort of Chris Farley sort of thing, and just plows right on through. He's totally sweaty, It's like, yeah. So that's my Chris Farley moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
An actual brush with celebrity.
Yes.
I mean, it's not inconceivable, but it's pretty good.
Yes.
And if you're a new listener or watcher, that's a Princess Bride reference. You can check it out some other time.
Yeah, that was our best episode at one time.
At one time.
Quite some time ago. Yeah. 200 and some odd back.
You can barely hear it, but we did it.
But I gotta say, every time I'm in New York City and I see dog do on the ground, I think of that story. I'm looking around like, where's Wallace Shawn? Poor guy.
Right. No, I think there is something about the Midwestern. I mean, obviously, it's set in Ohio. They're cruising through, talking about selling 1,000 units to Oshkosh and Michigan and Iowa and all this stuff. It's very Midwest, salt of the earth kind of thing that they're doing. But it's also, the road trip itself, I think it's not that big of a deal, but it's a road trip where they start out as enemies and end up as friends. So it's predictable, but even though it's kind of a threadbare plot with this, one thing they have to do, the way that they change, the way that he actually, Spade actually helps him out. They have their big fight. He hits him with a 2x4. And then they have
where did that come from?
Right.
I mean the 2x4 or the whole fight?
Yes, the 2x4. He's like, just out of nowhere.
I mean, he had to escalate because, Tommy's like, "Oh, is there a window open? I feel a draft." He's egging him on, and then he goes, "Oh, prehistoric forest." Yeah.
But again, where did he get a 2x4?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yes. Another flaw in the
nitpicking.
Yeah.
I suppose.
No, I mean, if I had never seen this movie and I'm watching it for the first time, I'd be nitpicking right now for sure. This
is a movie that you forgive a lot, but it's easier to forgive a lot when you have stupid comedy when the jokes keep coming.
Yeah.
But
I said it before, but just expounding a slight bit. My favorite Chris Farley parts, for the most part, are like lines of dialogue. Like I really like his speech when he's finally got his groove and he says the thing about taking a dump in a box and marking it guaranteed. Like that little speech I love the speech where he like loses his mind. He's pulling his hair. He's like, every time I want to jerk the wheel to a goddamn bridge of pub. Like I like that. Like my favorite moments with him are more his performance of dialogue instead of just him being sort of Three Stooges-esque.
Right.
Yeah.
For the most part.
The airplane wash-up scene, which has its moments, but that was from the original. They kept that from the original script.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just sight gags. It's just pratfalls, like banging his head and falling out with his pants down and stuff. That's, I agree. That's the stuff that it's like, that doesn't stay with you. It doesn't, it's momentary pleasure, but you're not going to think about that stuff. You're just, but like you were saying, somebody was saying, you remember the deer, You know,
Oh yeah,
the deer
that was
scene
the
is kind
only
of
thing I
iconic,
really remembered.
right?
It's hilarious.
Oh, and him giving David Spade a hard time in the hotel room
Oh
about
yeah,
the lady by the pool. I love that scene too. When he calls him a sinner.
Sinner.
I love that scene. So like he was great. Like when he's a good, you know, he would have done something had he not passed away early. You know, he definitely would have done something dramatic, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I think Peter Siegel, the director, said something to him like that. I think actually, you said he got all these bad scripts and he was turning them down, and then Farley thought Peter Siegel didn't like him because Peter was protecting him from these bad scripts. He was trying to get him a better script, and he said, "You don't like me." And then he wrote him this big letter and said, "No, I adore you. I think you can. Like, you've just got to be more choosy, and you can eventually do some serious acting, you know, maybe win some awards one day." And Farley was like, okay. But I would love to see it. I would have loved to see it. If there's a alternate universe where he lives and we see him do the Jim Carrey sort of turn and see how he can do. Worked for Jim Carrey for the most part. So too bad.
Yeah.
And the other gag was the hotel housekeeping thing. Did you guys read that Spade was doing that to Farley? Like every time they were in the hotel, he would just keep going, housekeeping. and said Farley fell for it every time.
Funny.
And yeah, that must have been. I mean, those guys sharing an office on Saturday Night Live and just, you know, being a fly in the wall must have been hilarious. And that's where the fat man in a little coat came from too. From him, he would keep telling David Spade, he's like, I got an idea for a sketch, and it would always end with, you know, fat guy in a little coat. Spade hated it.
Yeah, it's their good natured. So the movie, the tone is good. It's a good natured movie, and I feel it stems from their good natured relationship, and you know, of those two guys.
Yeah,
it's got to be right.
Yeah.
So Colin, you would recast Brian Dennehy? Sorry to cut you off.
Yep, I would.
Okay.
I don't know who. I mean, Wilford Brimley's interesting. Who they offered it to and he turned it down. But I don't know. I was gonna say that. So the one thing Brian Dennehy does good is play a salesman.
Yeah.
You know, he's and not to say Brian Dennehy's not a good actor. I think he is a good actor. It's just he just seems so villainous, which makes him a good salesman in this movie. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So picturing Wilford Brimley doing that, I don't know. Although he did play like a horse riding, arrow shooting, weird, like bayou dude in Hard Target.
I knew you were going to say Van Damme. Somehow I knew I was going to say. I guess because you always bring up Hard Target when you.
Which was not the worst part of that movie.
You're talking about the dancing? Is the dancing?
No, that's Kickboxer.
Well, he dances a couple times.
Hard Target. He has long hair, greasy hair, and he plays like he's pseudo homeless. I guess I don't know. It's the Most Dangerous Game story.
Gotcha.
Directed by John Woo.
So now that we've covered it, you don't have to pick it.
All right. You don't have to pick Hard Target.
You don't have to do
it. I think this is like the 18th episode in which you've mentioned Steven Seagal.
I didn't mention Steven Seagal.
Didn't say Seagal.
This is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh no, this is Jean-Claude. Sorry.
JCVD.
It's the same like 5 movies
Bite
that
your
I
tongue.
lump together that are yours. The last person in the universe to have watched these 5 movies is you.
It's me, indeed. Even Jean-Claude's like, I'm not watching fucking Hard Target. That movie's terrible.
Don't worry, there's a guy in New Jersey who watched it last for everybody.
Yep. That's right.
It's 2 weeks ago.
Another thing I like about this pick, Sam, is that it undoes the Mikey Nicky story. It's sort of like, because that was like the buddy movie gone wrong.
Yes, that's
now
why.
Now we're doing the buddy movie where things work out. They make each other better. They help each other.
Yeah.
Because it's a small subplot is that Richard has no friends, David Spade's character. So when he says, I know you got our friends, but I don't, like that really rings true. Like his character is very consistent, but you can see how they get along. You can see how it would work.
It sounded a lot cooler when Val Kilmer said something similar in Tombstone.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, it did sound better. Yeah, and also I think that's right about the time that the park bench they're sitting on fails because Farley's too heavy, and
Yeah.
Again, that's where it starts to, like, the sweet silly thing sort of falls apart. Like, okay, like you don't have to do this every single scene.
Yeah.
That
we don't need fat jokes every scene.
Especially don't need fat jokes. I mean, did you guys notice? I mean, he loves That's Gonna Leave a Mark. And do you remember where we just heard that? Spaceballs, John Candy.
Oh yeah.
And he ad-libbed that. So part of Farley's shtick is from an ad-lib line from John Candy. And I mean, I could be a stretch, but that's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, but I think that we used to say that. Like, I think that was
everybody used to say that.
Yeah, that was part of the pop culture slang for a while, or vernacular.
So we're not giving any of them credit for any of that. We're just saying that's just a funny line that people say.
Well, no,
I say it because of Farley and Candy.
See, because I know I've said it, but I said it because of Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you said this movie's really quotable, like for me it isn't, because I only ever watched it once, so I never said any of these lines. Geez. Like I never was like, "Holy Schnikes," to till this episode. Like none of it. And I love some of the lines, like does
melted
suit
chocolate
make me look fat?
Sorry, I have stuff on you. What?
Oh, I like that. Does the suit make me look fat? He's like, no, but your face does. Like, unfortunately, Vivian's going to get that. I apologize preemptively, but I got to quote that at some point when she asks.
Good luck.
Yeah. Godspeed, sir.
Well, she's the only one here. Unfortunately, she's the only one who receives.
Unfortunately.
The dogs just don't, they don't care. They go right past them.
It was right over their head.
I mean, I know, not everything is quotable, but there's got to be. You can't think of one like line that you've said like these other movies we talked about where where did that come from?
No, nothing jumped out in this one.
Really, these shoes are worth more in your life.
That's a pretty good quote.
I feel like I've subbed other things in for shoes, for sure.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Yeah.
That sounds like... Yeah.
Did you live under power lines? Did you eat paint chips?
Yeah.
I was waiting for, did your parents have any children that lived or something like that?
Right.
Or were your parents brother and sister?
Did you guys watch the American Gladiators documentary that came out like last year?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny that that's pretty much what people will remember? I mean, if you're not if you're not old like us, you won't know what American Gladiators is, but the fact that they could throw that into this movie without batting an eye and using it as a punchline too, it was pretty amazing.
Well, yeah.
So if you've not seen Tommy Boy somehow, when he's about to close the deal, he's on TV and there's a bunch of guys sitting around. Well, the waitress from the restaurant, and she's like, "Do you guys want to watch this or Gladiators?" And then I'll go, "Gladiators," But yeah,
just for the record, American Gladiators was awesome.
I watched a lot of those. Yeah,
I watched the hell out of that show. I loved it. And I really enjoyed the documentary, although it was a little surface level.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think I watched the first episode of the documentary and then for some reason never followed up.
I think it's only like 6 episodes or something.
Yeah, I think I watched all but the last one, actually.
Yeah, I mean, toward the end, it's more like about them getting back together and then trying to get some money for some of the things, the contracts were messed up. And yeah, there's somewhat a tragic tale, but very much a time capsule.
Oh, yeah.
That we were so starved for entertainment, we were like, let's make up a TV sport with random people. Yeah, it was just nuts.
Did you guys ever see the knockoff of American Gladiators?
I don't think so.
It was called Battle Dome.
I take it you have.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course. It was not good.
Did they have any events that were
it was very similar, but they sort of appropriated the Mad Max thing a little bit, the Thunderdome. And it was just silly. Like it was far sillier than American Gladiators. Like if you sort of squint a little bit and kind of turn your head, you're like, oh, this is sort of a real sport ish. Ish. This is a real competition, kind of. But Battle Dome it was all theatrics. You know, it was like WWF, you know, or whatever they call it now. To a certain extent, like it didn't even feel real at all, even though you could tell that some of the things were, I guess, but there's just so much horse shit around with it that it was all cartoony and dumb.
They marketed it right at you. They're like, this guy, he's going through gladiator withdrawal. He'll watch this.
Let's give him Battle Dome.
This is David Spade's best movie.
Is it?
Sure. Right? I mean, I think of him more
it's
as a
not
TV
Joe Dirt,
guy.
Right?
Yeah, this is better than Joe Dirt.
I like Joe Dirt, though.
He was in Police Academy 4.
Was he? He must have been young.
4.
Yeah. And he had a role in Elf once, too. One episode.
In what?
Elf.
Oh, Elf.
Alien Life Form.
I thought you said Elf. I thought you were talking about the movie. Oh, I know Elf.
An elf.
I think you're right, actually. I just looked up. I was having a hard time thinking of movies with David Spade. The Grown Ups is terrible. I can't stand it. I turned the first one off after 15 minutes and I never watched the second one. Dickie Roberts is just terrible.
We're going to upset our number one fan because he's not only a David Spade guy, he likes his sitcoms, like the
sitcoms.
I'm gonna mess him up here.
A couple years ago, I saw David Spade do stand up.
His stand up's great.
He was funny.
Yeah, I like his stand up.
He was sorry.
I was just gonna say the movies he's in are terrible.
He was in a talk show, right? Didn't he do a talk show?
Did he? I mean, he's got a podcast with Dana Carvey.
Yeah. Well, I've listened to a few episodes.
What was the sitcom he was in?
Rules of Engagement.
That's not what I'm thinking of.
The David Putty guy from Seinfeld.
Just Shoot Me. That's what I was thinking.
Just Shoot Me. I actually watched that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I used to watch that too.
Who's the dad? George Segal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or Siegel, whatever it is. Yeah, so he's pretty well established in TV, writing, a lot of writing. But yeah, as a performer, I don't see him as a movie guy.
Not really.
I don't think of him as a movie guy.
Yeah, I like him in this.
Yeah, you wonder if he needed Farley, needed to be a comedy duo. Maybe that's why he works in TV well, because he can throw those snide lines out.
Yeah, he's good at the snarky straight man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He does that well.
And he kind of had that for the Hollywood Reporter skits on
Oh yeah,
Saturday Night Live.
for sure, definitely.
Cynical quips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Julia Warner? What's her name?
I think
She was in like this and Doc
Hollywood.
Doc Hollywood.
Yep.
And I don't know, like something else maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, did she die? I mean, she's. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's still working, like she's doing stuff here and there. I just never seen any of it or heard of most of it. Not much though. I mean, it's like one or two things a year.
I think my favorite cameo has to be Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
His I think he's hilarious.
Yeah,
he's great. The elevator. I love this. That's my favorite scene with him in the elevator. When Chris Farley says it's whatever pine tree or fresh, he goes, "Great, you've what did he say?
Great, you've identified it."
Right. The next step is washing it off.
I'm nervous, so I'm sweating. Yeah, and then he like robs a bank or whatever. That's it's good setup. Yeah, and then of course his Rob Lowe ends up in a test chair and gets a bag of sand or something dropped on his nuts.
Yeah,
which is silly. But
Disney moment there.
Yeah, it sets up Dan Aykroyd to say, give him a bottle of bubbly and put on a card that says, "Tough break, kid, to get drunk on me. Use the ice down your marbles, your Z," or whatever.
Ice down your marbles.
Perfectly in character.
Oh, he also towards the end he says, "You got one by me, kids. Savor the flavor because it won't happen again." I've used that. Savor the flavor because it won't happen again. When someone gets the best of me, which happened once.
Oh man. Oh, I was going to say that David Spade actually did talk to the studio about a sequel, and he turned it down. This was just reported this month, I think, according to Wiki. But he was, he said, without Farley, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
but it was going to be the
can't
kids.
Make another one of these.
They were going to do like the kids of Tommy and Richard or something.
That
but
sounds
yeah,
terrible.
What would the point be?
No point. They'd remake the same movie. They'd say, "Oh, your dad died. You have to go."
Right. Right.
The factory's going under again. Yeah, that's another thing. You know, this is a happy, fun movie, but like the fact that the tire plant is gone down, like the town is like teetering, and it just has this one auto plant that's keeping it going. I mean, that's very Midwest 90s reality, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how it is. That's how it was. I guess now it'd be more something about like moving stuff overseas or some crap.
Well,
which is not any better as a plot. What'd you say? Doing next?
That's exactly what happened. I mean, that's why the Midwest got devastated the way it was. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's like, hey, it's still somewhat relevant.
Sure.
Know? People are still wishing we could somehow go back to having more factories.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, they paint a nice picture. Like everybody knows everybody at Callaway Auto, you know. I lost my virginity to your daughter. Rob, you were there.
So wrong.
Yeah.
All right, what are we doing next?
Not it.
Well, similar, same decade, a little earlier than this. Also featuring someone who was in the cast of Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy?
No. How do I it's the only movie Bill Murray ever directed.
Oh, geez. That doesn't sound promising.
Bill Murray directed.
He also
in
stars
the
in it.
early '90s.
Yep.
We already did Groundhog Day,
Mm-hmm.
and Ghostbusters is way before that. Oh,
The heck did he direct? I don't know.
Lost in Translation's
It's a-
way after.
Is it
He
a
didn't
is
direct
it a comedy?
It is a comedy.
It's
Also
comedy.
has another former cast member from Saturday Night Live. Although people don't associate this particular actor with Saturday Night Live very often, I don't think. And the female lead is the lead in another pick of mine from a couple months ago. Maybe the first episode we posted to the YouTube channel, actually.
I'm
Oh, jeez.
If I'm
having a
thinking
really
correctly.
hard time remembering Bill Murray movies.
Yeah. He's dressed as a clown in the beginning.
Oh, quick
No.
change. Quick change.
Yeah.
Yes. I should have known that. I forgot he
Dennis
directed
Quaid and
Randy Quaid
Randy Quaid.
and
yeah.
and Gina Davis and Jason Robards.
that. Nice.
Go back to Gina Davis.
I honestly don't remember this movie at all, but I don't recall particularly liking it.
So
Okay.
that's
But
why
I
you
thought
picked it?
it was really fascinating. That's the only movie Bill Murray ever directed.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Like, was it just such a horrific experience that he never? I mean, that was 35 years ago. That's a long time.
We're gonna have to do a little research.
We are. We're gonna have to get the interns on this. They can maybe interview him for the episode.
That's
Well-
probably a good idea.
The interns wanted me to mention that even though this Tommy Boy only made like 12 million more than its budget, it went on to do 100 million in video sales.
Oh,
so
geez, yeah.
and it's not
Unbelievable.
well liked by review. Like Ebert, he hated Tommy Boy. It's on his like hate list. But yeah, I mean, this is a cult. This is the definition of a cult classic because people would just put it on when I used to overindulge in alcohol. Not that I ever did. It was like the perfect hangover movie because I had like a all-in-one VHS TV, and you just pop Tommy Boy in, and you're just like, okay, Tommy Boy, and the beats come quick, and you're like, yeah, this feels better. Life is worth living.
That's good. We got a hangover cure. This is our first one. It sure wasn't the last movie.
No. I think it just one quick thing before we go. I think it's interesting that the Rotten Tomatoes scores are so vastly different for Tommy Boy. The critics are 41%, but the crowd, the
Audience,
yeah, the audience is 90%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
it does
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah, pretty big
It's
swing
not.
there.
It's not a well-made movie. It's an amusing movie.
Yeah.
It's still worth watching.
We didn't talk about Peter Segal much because I don't think there's a whole lot to say, but I really do like the shot, even though it's a sad moment. He just falls over with a heart attack. Then it shoots up at the people looking down at him, and they're at the funeral, and the music throughout the movie is sort of like
Mhm.
blends into all the scenes really well.
That scene actually I like. There's some interesting transitions too. Like they all crowd over him,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
and then when they stand up, they're at the funeral. It's like a seamless transition. There's a few of
I think
those,
that's what he just
particularly
said.
particularly in the first half. Did you say that?
I did just say
That's
that.
what he was just saying.
I thought you just said they looked over him. I didn't hear you mention the funeral. Anyway,
No,
That's all right. I ignore like 90% of what he says too. And you, which is why I was thinking Seagal and not JBCD.
Chocolate.
you're just not paying attention at all.
Yeah. I was like cleaning
We
my
just go on greatest hits now.
fingernails.
Oh, he's probably talking about.
Is it because
Steven
someone
Seagal
said Peter Seagal? You were like, oh, I think it's
Yeah.
Seagal though, isn't it? Seagal.
Seagal?
Seagal. Yes,
Seagal.
I think so.
Peter Seagal.
Like Jonathan.
Jonathan
Seagal.
Seagal.
Jonathan Livingston Seagal.
Yes.
Uh-huh. All right.
Another good book, because a lot of times we do send people to go read books instead of watch movies.
We do?
I thought that's one of our
In
underlying
addition.
goals.
Is it?
We're secretly,
like we're
failing.
failing.
We're implanting book ideas into people's minds.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I want to read
Right.
the book adaptation of Tommy Boy.
The book adaptation.
Sure, that one exists.
Maybe a comic book version.
Cool. Quick.
All right, well, this has been our
change,
best
huh?
episode
Oh, yeah.
ever.
Top notch.
Totally. All right.
All right,
So-
quick change. Where can we watch it?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look it up. Let's see. Oh, everything's broken.
I'm seeing. Whoops. What am I seeing? Not much.
Oh, no.
Nothing free.
Ah. Canopy's free, isn't it?
Canopy, I think, is. I don't know how to use it, but
You download it.
It's probably impossible.
I bet I can find it free somewhere.
I'm almost certain Canopy's free. It's
Legally.
like a public library thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like a public library app where they have movies and stuff. You just got to like sign up. You might need a library card. If you guys don't have a library card, then I'm very disappointed.
Half of
library
it.
Sean chuckles uncomfortably.
I know where it
I
is.
have one. I'll use it.
Yeah, it's on
I like to
Canopy.
read
It's on Canopy.
picture books.
Picture books. All right.
All right, that's enough movie buff. I'm out.
Cool.
Hachi do hachi.
It's FM with 3 brains.
I still haven't learned how to read.